Well, hello fellow crafters, Janine here, and today I'm going to be showing you how I made this very lovely set of coordinated cards. I gotta tell you, I have made a lot of cards now in the past year since I've started card making, and this is by far my favorite coordinated set I've made yet. But I think it really has a lot to do with the colors, because this is one of my favorite colorways. I just absolutely adore blue and white and yellow together. That kind of French country look, I just love it. I always have. And so I think that's why I'm so nuts about this set of cards. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you all the different products that I incorporated, but don't worry about like the measurements and the products, because I am going to have a blog post below where I'm going to detail each card and the measurements for them and so forth. So don't panic about trying to write everything down. There's going to be a blog post below that's going to show you. So I'm just gonna, this video is just, we're going to run through real quick and show you the mechanics of it, and the blog post will give you the details. So anyway, let's get started. Okay, I've got everything pretty much cut and laid out. I saved you guys the complete boredom of having to watch me do all that. And just to give you some general measurements, I don't generally measure a whole lot when I'm doing this. I just kind of eyeball it. But on this one, the yellow piece is 3.5 by about 2.5, and then the white piece is about 3.25 by 2.25. And I cut all of the cardstock. It was 8.5 by 11 sheets that I cut in half to make A2 size cards. I've got a couple of them that are going to be top folding, and the rest of them are going to be side folding. That one's a top fold, and let's see which other one, and this one. These two are top folds right here. And then I cut all of the background pieces, and this was that Stampin' Up paper that you saw in a haul, and I think the name of it was Floral Boutique, and it features the Night of Navy and Whisper White, and this is Whisper White cardstock from Stampin' Up. And all of these stamps are from Stampin' Up today, except for my sentiment stamp, which is says thank you for all you do, and that came from May Made It Thankful stamp set. But the floral stamps and leaf stamps are all going to be from Stampin' Up. Now I can tell you, these little the squares on this card, this is 1.5 inches. Well, Lord, I want to lie to you. No, I'm sorry. It's 2 inches square by 1.5 inch square is the white piece, and these are 1.5 inches square by 1 inch square on those. And then this one is just under 2 inches by 4 inches for the long piece, and the yellow piece, and then about 3 3/4 long by about 1.5, a little over 1.5 wide. So that's pretty much all the measurements. And the background piece, I'm sorry, I started telling you that the background pieces I cut just a little bit shy of the A2 size card. So I would say I cut them 4 inches by 5.25 inches. So that's all the measurements, and don't worry if you didn't write all that down. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do a blog post, and I'll link that below, and it'll have all the products that I used and the measurements. I think that'll just make it easier. I am going to use some of this seam binding on this card, and then I cut some navy blue ribbon, and honestly it's just something I got from Walmart a long time ago. Just had it on hand, but it's a pretty navy satin ribbon. I'm going to use that on this card, and then a piece on this card. So I just went ahead and just cut random lengths. The inks that I'm using, this is Cottage Ivy by Memento, Night of Navy by Stampin' Up. I'm sorry, did you see those at all? Cottage Ivy by Memento, Night of Navy by Stampin' Up, and then Dandelion by Memento. So I'm going to go ahead and ink up the first image. And now I can honestly say I probably wouldn't do this again. I just had a piece of this paper. It's for acrylic painting, and it has kind of the texture and feel of canvas, but it is paper, and it might have a small amount of canvas in it, but anyway, I practiced stamping on it, and honestly it was a bit of a mistake, but I had already cut everything out, and I just did not feel like recutting everything, so I just said, well, it is what it is. We're gonna go with it. And it's okay. It just, the ink takes a little bit longer to dry on it, because it does have a bit of a coating to it. So that's the only downside. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some of this stamping out of the way and set those pieces aside and let them dry. And I had one more piece I wanted to use this stamp on, so I'm gonna go ahead and ink it up again. And it stamps perfectly lovely. It's just, like I said, it takes a little bit longer to dry. And I'm going to go ahead and, I think I'm going to do all, I'm going to go ahead and get all my stamping out of the way. So I used a fern leaf looking stamp. It's a photopolymer stamp that came in a paper pumpkin kit. I don't remember which month, but if you'll go refer to my blog post that's listed down in the description, I do give you some alternative stamp sets that would work well. They don't look exactly like the little fern leaf, but I do give you some alternatives to the paper pumpkin stamp set in case you did not get that particular paper pumpkin kit. And then from that same paper pumpkin stamp set, I use this little kind of, it's a painterly looking floral stamp, and it's got two ports. It's got the outside petal port, and it's got a center port that we're going to stamp here in just a minute. But I just stamped them all at one time in the same color, in the Daffodil by Memento. And here you see me inking up the center port in the Night of Navy. But I decided I didn't want quite so much center port, so I did wipe off and just try to selectively stamp just a little bit of it, and stamp that in the center of the flowers. And what I did was I put some Night of Navy ink on my clear acrylic block, and then with my water brush just got it a little bit wet and painted in like the little berries that are on that leafy stamp. And again, I had to set it aside and let it dry. And here we're going to start assembling everything. For this first card, I'm using the blue satin ribbon, and I'm just using my score tape to adhere it onto the white card base. And then I'm using my tape runner to adhere the white card base to my, or the white paper, the white cardstock to my card base rather. And of course I used some of the designer series paper underneath that white cardstock, and then with a score tape I adhered the yellow, I'm sorry, with the score tape I adhered the white cardstock with the stamped image onto the yellow cardstock, and then used the dimensional tape to adhere all of that to the card base. Whew! Had a little trouble getting that all out. And here I had already adhered my background paper to the card and forgot to put the ribbon on, so I kind of had to peel it up a little bit and put the ribbon on, and I adhered the yellow cardstock with my tape runner, and then the stamped image with dimensional tape. And I kind of alternated back and forth with that technique between which part I put the dimensional tape on. And again, adhered some blue satin ribbon to the designer paper, and then used my tape runner to adhere that to the card base. And I always kind of just play around with things, see how I like them, where position wise, you know, what looks good to me. And then using my snail adhesive, I adhered the yellow cardstock, and then dimensionals I used to adhere the stamped image. And I stamped the same sentiment on the inside of each one of the cards. I think it was "Thank you for all you do." And again, with my tape runner, I adhered
the designer series paper to the card base. And then again, playing around with placement, trying to see how I like that. I didn't want all the palm pieces to like be pointed in the same direction, so I put them all in a different directionality. And I used the dimensionals to pop those pieces up. I love using dimensionals. I just think it just gives the card such an expensive look. And I just repeated the same process for each card, just deciding, you know, which parts I wanted popped up and which parts I wanted to kind of lay flat, and then use the proper adhesive accordingly, either score tape, tape runner, or dimensionals. And in this case, I popped the entire piece up. I really like that simple, kind of leafy stamped image, and that, unfortunately, that stamp set's no longer available. It's a simply sketched stamp set, but again, in my blog post I give you some alternatives stamp sets for that, so there's a lot that would work just as well and give you a similar look. So don't let the specific stamp set hold you back from trying this design, because Stampin' Up! Has so many different floral and botanical stamp sets that you can really find just about any kind of substitute. This particular card, I was kind of disappointed that I had used that white cardstock. I wish I had just put everything directly on the designer paper like I had with the other ones. So I felt like it needed something more, that it was just too plain. So I used that Fern stamp set and the Night of Navy to stamp it up, and I liked it better. And then I stamped my Made by Janine Rick on each card using the Night of Navy. And then for the sentiment on the inside, I used my little stamping tool that I made myself, because it helped me to get the sentiment on really, really straight. I struggle with getting sentiments on straight. They're almost always crooked. So it helped me to accomplish that. And again, I used the Night of Navy on each one of them to stamp the sentiment on the inside.
Well, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got some inspiration from watching me put these together. The elements that I used were really, really simple. Just some simple stamping, some simple paper piecing. You know, nothing was really overly complicated. You know, no Copic coloring, no gradient coloring, no watercoloring. Just really simple stamping and taping stuff down. I mean, it just doesn't get any easier than that. Well, anyway, I appreciate you guys showing up for yet another one of my videos. You are so awesome, and I appreciate your support so much. And as always, you guys have a very blessed day. Bye now.